Keer dit jaar door het kwalificatietoernooi gekomen. Tweevoudig halve finalist op het WK. Uit Bolzwart, Dekker, Jan Dekker! En Jans tegenstander komt uit de hoofdstad van het Engelse darten, uit Stoke-on-Trent. Viervoudig majorwinnaar, tweevoudig wereldkampioen, dames en heren, from England, jackpot, A.Lewis!
It is just over a year ago that A.Lewis claimed his 18th individual title in PDC darts in Milton Keynes. That is the most recent title that the two-time world champion has won. He batted his way through against some of the biggest names in the game. He beat Michael van Gogh and he saw off Dave Chisnell in the final. He nearly threw a 9-darter to win the title. And then he returned the following day at the MK Arena to see if he could do the double. And A.Lewis, jackpot, the four-time major winner, was beaten in the first round by Jan Dekker. And that remains the only time that Jan Dekker has beaten A.Lewis. They have met 4 times before, but Jan Dekker, who evidently enjoyed his walk-on, he went full Jermaine Wattermainer with the entrance there. If he can harness the power of this 1,500-strong crowd, maybe he could find another victory against Jackpot and book his place in the second round to face Simon Whitlock. Penultimate game of the night here in the opening day of the Dutch Darts Masters from the Eisenhaller in Zwolle. And Chris Murphy's alongside me, Dan Dawson, to talk you through.
Yeah, and what a way to finish the evening session. A.Lewis
first. Game on.
in this one, and then James Wade up next against Spain's #1 Cristo Reyes in the tastiest of tungsten treats here at the Dutch Darts Masters. And Lewis, well, as you said, it's over a year since he picked up a PDC title, but his recent form has been decent, Dan.
It's been more than decent. He has been within touching distance of claiming another PDC title. Back-to-back finals in Barnsley. Prior to that, he'd made a couple of quarters, a couple of semis. He's made a quarter-final since then as well. It feels inevitable that Jackpot is going to return to the winner's circle in PDC darts. It's just a matter of when.
44.
And of all the players here who haven't won a title this weekend, there are very few who have as much experience of winning big stage darts matches as this man.
Not often that we say this so many times in a darts tournament of all sports, but a question mark over the fitness of A.Lewis, who withdrew from last weekend's tournament through illness.
58.
One of a number of English darts players that are struggling at the moment. All of them have been around the story of the World Cup of Darts, because of course it would be Lewis that comes out of the team. Who would have thought that a year ago? Dave Chisnell right now hanging on, Adrian's partner at last year's tournament. Michael Smith in front of him also struggling, and Rob Cross has pulled out of this tournament.
99.
Well, last time A.Lewis on the European Tour facing a Dutchman in round 1, it was going very, very well, and it didn't end very well when he lost the last leg decider against Jordi Meeuwissen.
58.
That was when Lewis had a nightmare journey to get there, hadn't he? And he kind of just shrugged his shoulders on the way out and went, well, it wasn't my weekend.
Yeah, he left kind of wishing that he hadn't bothered, but he has been putting the effort in, Adrian Lewis. Granted, he did withdraw from last weekend, but he has been turning up. He's been playing pretty much everything that he's been allowed to play. And it's a slightly reformed Adrian Lewis in that he's not as rapid as he used to be.
Yeah, more deliberate, you can see that there, taking a bit more time to aim. And the result has been a very strong start to the season, and one of the players that is threatening to pick up a PDC title very, very soon.
100.
I mean, if you use the Dark Connect system as a guide for form, you've just got the Players' Championship events where you can look at the tour, the Players' Championship tour all in one. And there's only one player in this tournament that's better than Adrian Lewis,
58.
and that's the world #1, Michael van Gerwen.
Yeah, based on the averages, that is the case. In terms of the number of 180s hit, Adrian Lewis is right at the very top with 114. In terms of the frequency of 180s, then Adrian Lewis is just outside the top 10. But he's consistently, I mean, there is literally nobody who's played more games in the Players' Championship Series than Adrian Lewis, because he's playing them and he's going deep into it.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question now, Dan. You are our expert analyst from the panel of a bad bunch, let's be fair, this weekend.
Right, okay.
But you know, you do your stuff on the dart show and all that kind of stuff. People value your opinion. If you were to write a list...
You don't value my opinion.
I didn't say me, I said people.
Right, okay.
I'm not representative of the human race.
Thankfully not.
If you were to write a list, forget about the order of merit as it is now, the best darts players in the world currently playing, where would you put Adrian Lewis? I'm sure it wouldn't be in the 20s.
Well, at the minute, the order of merit has Adrian Lewis at number 20 in the world rankings. Now, is Adrian Lewis playing better darts than some of the players above him? You would have to say yes. Which ones? Open for debate. But there are players above him who have failed to qualify for this, the likes of Alan Norris, Benito van der Paak. There are players who haven't really been turning it on, the likes of Kim Huybrechts hasn't been winning many games.
140, and you require 100.
But there is no doubting this man's talent. But this man's got some talent, some serious talent.
120.
But he hasn't got a double five, and it's one that he might have needed.
Is it a dart at the bullseye or better? Bullseye it is.
64.
Just landed awkwardly.
Not
Not on target. So Dekker returns to double five, or does he? He does not. Double four. Smart darts from Dekker.
Dave Shaw to the second leg. Under. Relegation to throw first. Game on.
One apiece. Mentioned Jan Dekker beat Adrian Lewis in Milton Keynes last year. His one win against Jackpot, that was a last leg decider. All the other times they've met, it's been won by Adrian Lewis. There's one since then. It was only about 3 weeks later in Wigan. That's their most recent meeting, so it's over a year since they last clashed. But last year was one that was blighted by all kinds of problems for Adrian Lewis, with injury, he wasn't playing regularly enough.
42.
We flash back to that 3-0 win at the World Championship. That was really the last time things were going good for Adrian Lewis. He reached the final, didn't he? Lost out to Gary Anderson.
You know, what was it? Three finals in 5 years for Adrian Lewis in a World Championship. I mean, that was...
And he went very close in that final to winning a third world title, but for a huge, timely 170 checkout from the Flying Scotsman.
Yeah, were it not for that 170, that final may have turned into one of the greatest matches we've ever seen at Ali Pali. It was already pretty good. They broke the world record for 180s at the time.
Yep, still the only man to produce perfection, a perfect leg in a World Championship final.
He is a Euro Tour winner, is Adrian Lewis. Only won one.
And you record 164.
And that was way back in the opening years of the Euro Tour.
He's come close many times to adding to that roll of honour of individual PDC titles this year, Adrian Lewis. I think the one that he would have felt got away was against Mickey Mansell. But Mansell was not
100
to be beaten that day.
And you record 40.
Dekker here, very handily placed to break.
And a 13-darter is good enough for Jan Dekker to move into the lead.
Game on.
Very, very difficult player to predict, Jan Dekker. You don't know whether he's going to be brilliant or average. And to be honest,
60.
It's been pretty average so far, but that is more than enough against Adrian Lewis, who is, well, just not performing at the moment. But early days.
A chance if Jan Dekker can progress to set up a rematch
60.
in the second round with Simon Whitlock, who, well, he didn't play for long last week, to put it politely.
Yeah, the Wizard finishing expertly
77.
in that game against Jan Dekker. Much better first dart. No surprise he follows it. Little surprise that he fills it up, Adrian Lewis.
One Euro Tour win, as you mentioned, is also being the European champion. It was Whitlock that he beat in the final back in 2013.
Yeah, denying Whitlock a chance to retain the title, was it not?
It was. I think that was partly what endeared Whitlock to the European crowds, wasn't it, those couple of runs? But Lewis looking for another one.
140.
Knocked out of that newfound rhythm there by dropping his darts. But this is a good response to being broken.
Yeah, much more like it from Jackpot.
98. Adrian, you record 121.
Jan manages to leave himself a bogey number, so Adrian, no need to use the bullseye route. But he goes bullseye first dart. Single 18 will leave tops.
81.
And Adrian Lewis, on form, one of, if not the best double top hitter in the game. He is that good. But curiously, he's a guy who will change his MO from leaving tops by choice to double 16 by choice. He just seems to be whatever mood he's in.
Yeah, we've seen him a lot going for the double 16s on the floor events that we live stream on PDC TV. Can't find tops, but he can find double 10. And levels up this tie at 2 apiece. Yeah, plenty of darts still to come in the coming weeks. We have of course, the Premier League final on Thursday, then a Players' Championship doubleheader from Milton Keynes next weekend. The World Cup World Series event in front of almost 20,000 fans in Germany. Seemingly endless darting calendar.
Yeah, the German Darts Masters, that World Series event. Not to be confused with the German Darts Masters at the Euro Tour event. I know it is confusing, but try not to. Yeah, I just had confirmation about the live music at that event.
From?
From a German reggae band.
Not Adrian Lewis and Stephen Bunting having a turn on the karaoke as we've seen before.
Sincerely hope not. Are you a fan of German reggae at all, Chris?
Partial to anything, Dan.
Yeah.
39.
Well, the Schalke Stadium in Gelsenkirchen is the place for you.
Darts and German reggae.
140.
Is Adrian Lewis just finding his range a little bit here? He's just getting his first dart in the right place a little bit more often. And we talk about so much, players work off that first dart. That's a little bit low, but it's workable. And you see there, it deflects and it goes low. If it was higher in the bed, he'd find it easier to stay there, but he still manages to get another one in.
This is why I said you are our expert analyst, Dan.
85. Adrian, you require 78.
Well, 78, he'd be looking at treble 18, not going the Simon Whitlock route, I'm pretty sure of that. He's only got half a bed to air, Matt, here. Well, they somehow found the other half.
Arrowing it in from the right-hand side there, Adrian Lewis. You may not appreciate, if you're just watching on the telly, as Jan Dekker puts in his first 180. You may not appreciate how big a bloke Adrian Lewis is. He is massive. He is 6'6". He used to be a goalkeeper when he was growing up. He was on the books at Stoke. Now,
done with him this season.
Well, yeah, he could have done. But he is a really big bloke. And so those darts there perhaps don't cause him as much of a problem going for double top as, say, I don't know, Darren Webster. Because he can literally just go over the top of them without having to loop it over the top. He's got a pretty much a clear view into that double top bed.
41.
Yeah, it's the old Bobby George coaching manual, isn't it?
Look at what you're throwing at, what you're looking at.
That's the one.
It's a simple game when you break it down.
And actually, when you think about the way that Adrian Lewis has slowed himself down, that's exactly what he's doing. It's not just off feel anymore.
It is. I mean, he's always had. Oh well, that's a poor visit, but he feels his leg has gone anyway.
86.
Adrian Lewis is, when he's playing his best stuff, as Jan looks for an 11 darter and pins it. We have a real game on here.
Adrian to throw first.
He's always had a very sort of set rhythm and a set routine to go through, but at times it has been a lot quicker than this. And you're never really sure whether, as Chris Mason put it, whether he was a feel player or an aimer, but you do seem to think that with this new style that he's got, he is concentrating more on putting a little bit more focus and aiming into each dart. I mean, it may just be he slowed it down just to try and keep the process of his throw the same. And if he keeps that process going the same each time, then it's more repeatable. Oh, gee, me.
There were people in the past that had levelled at Adrian Lewis at times when he'd slowed down. And I'm not sure if they were correct or not, that he'd done that to try and knock his opponent out of their stride. But it is clear to see that this year, this is a technical change for Adrian Lewis.
Oh, he definitely did it. I mean, he spoke about it openly when he was taking on Van Gerwen, didn't he? He said, I can play at any pace.
So it didn't often prove that point.
No.
In matches against Michael Van Gerwen. Not in the last few years, anyway.
That is true. He does have some very notable wins against Michael Van Gerwen, but the vast majority, well, probably since MVG became world champion, have been dominated by the world number one. But you could say that about Michael Van Gerwen against everybody.
Well, we've spoken a lot about Adrian Lewis, but we might have to start talking about Jan, Dan.
We might well do, because he is very much in this game. And Adrian, this last leg particularly, and look at this. It is very curious how the radar just seems to have gone off kilter.
29.
And that is another poor visit. And he's in trouble here. If he gets broken, and this crowd start getting a bit fired up.
57.
Well, we saw Dekker trying to orchestrate the crowd on his walk-on, and he might well respond to a few chants here. Just surprised there that he just went back and had a sip of water and kind of took the sting out of the noise that was starting to develop there. A different player might have just encouraged them somewhat.
Doesn't get the treble that he's after. Adrian Lewis is looking at one of the trickiest out shots in the game.
Well, as you said, if he gets that first start right in the treble 20, he hasn't managed to do that.
And that's an unfortunate deflection.
52.
Jan Dekker, well, to go into the driving seat in this game. Jan Dekker was 1-0 down, 2-1 up, 3-2 down, and now 4-3 up. The lead is changing hands as often as it possibly could in this game. And he is nearly 10 points clear in the averages of Adrian Lewis. And I have to say, I did not see this performance from Jackpot coming. I was expecting him to turn up and put in the kind of displays we've been seeing regularly on the Pro Tour.
Yeah, the thing is with Jan Dekker, you never know what to expect. With Adrian Lewis, he's been consistently playing well this year. Jan Dekker's had one run to a quarter-final, the old fantastic performance, and a lot of not very good stuff around it. But this is really, really good stuff from Jan Dekker. And it could be a well-timed sprint finish.
Well, Jan Dekker, it's always the finishing that he's picked out as the strength of his game, and he's hitting 2/3 of his darts at double, but he's hit 180s in the last 3 legs as he has turned this game around. And he was even, he was nearly laughing as he piled in that last one.
Well, he might be smiling again. Don't pile another one in.
130.
But at no point in this match was either player led by more than a leg. That might be about to change.
Oh my, it's another very wild dart, and for all the aiming and for all the slowing down, I've not seen Adrian miss targets by that distance. Well, all year when we've been watching, and we must have done loads of games of live streamed darts with Adrian Lewis.
But what he's not doing, Dan, is not throwing at what he's aiming at.
35.
Well, Jan Dekker will get to aim at 8-8 next, because Adrian's not even down to a finish.
Yeah, he's just gestured to calm down there. I'm not sure who at, whether it was the crowd, but another loose dart from Adrian Lewis.
40.
And he's down only
16.
to 158 again. That's relying on Dekker missing 3 darts at double.
No score.
Which he has.
Oh, Jan Dekker
158.
has missed more darts at double in this leg than he had in the entire match leading up to it. Oh, it's another one in the one.
26.
Well,
He only requires 16.
Well, curious case, this, isn't it? Because he started off like he was just warming up. And it's kind of like he's blown a fuse and refused to carry on working at all.
the Adrian Lewis wheels have come off the cart.
100.
And completely unexpectedly.
It's been a mixed bag for the
81.
home nation qualifiers, the 4 Dutchmen in action today. Jermaine Watermena beat Adam Hookvale this afternoon. But Christian Kiss was beaten by Kyle Anderson. And Jeffrey de Graaf edged out by Steve Beaton. And Dekker looking to be the second man through. Of course, we will see Michael Van Gerwen, the tournament favourite, in action tomorrow.
100.
Yeah, Jelle Klaassen involved as well, of course. We'll see Jelle taking on Christoph Ratajski. Just look at 84 first 9, 80 overall average.
140.
Which Adrian Lewis is this? Because it doesn't look like the one that's been playing on the tour all year.
It'd be great to see a start of how many darts he's missed at the segment he was going for as well in this match. It's happened all too many times. Like the old heat map, isn't it, you get sometimes.
Well, he is still only 1 break behind. If he can find a way to hold in this leg, and he does have 140 points head start here, he pulls it back to 1. It would just need to be a break and a hold. Now that sounds simple enough. It may be simple enough against somebody averaging 90, which is what Jan Dekker's averaging, but he's averaging 80 at the minute over nearly 9 legs. And it's a strange position for Adrian to be in, because even when he was injured and struggling last year, he was still playing better than this.
He had a long look at Jan Dekker's score there. Is he thinking about not going for it? He does go for it. We saw him get into trouble with that in one of the Players' Championships, didn't we? Against Michael Smith.
Laid up when he could have gone for the bullseye, and Michael Smith took out that tricky 158. Oh my. Oh my! Jan Dekker to win it in the most incredible style. Oh, Mr. Coat bouncing round stage in frustration.
Yeah, nearly did himself an injury. Would have been somewhere to depart the tournament. It's Adrian Lewis who inflicts a pain. Dekker squanders a match start. And you made the point, Dan, it's only this leg. If Adrian Lewis can break in this leg, he becomes a favourite again, despite all that's gone before. That's going to be difficult, mind.
Jan Dekker, in the last 5 legs, has hit a 180 in 4 of them and missed the bullseye for a 170 checkout that would have sealed the match.
84.
That's not enough, Adrian. And after the disappointment of missing the match start, Jan Dekker, well, he's just brushed it off. And fair play, Jan Dekker. This has not been, by any stretch of the imagination, a world-class performance in terms of the numbers. But in certain situations in this game, Jan Dekker has found a way to grab hold of it and dominate in key moments.
Yeah, it's been gutsy stuff from Jan Dekker. He's got Adrian Lewis on the ropes and he's refusing to let go.
Well, even a maximum's not going to really worry Dekker, but that looks a real perfect dart for a maximum. And he only comes away with a ton, and I think that's probably a decent example of how Adrian Lewis's game has gone today, because if he gets one dart right, he very rarely gets the next 2.
He's determined to hit the treble 20. Does this mean he's going to have another stab at the ball, or is he going to lay up?
98.
He makes what seems like the sensible decision. Now then, Adrian, is there going to be any pressure? Is there going to be as much pressure as there possibly could be? Where's he looking to fire this dart?
140.
Sailed over the top. He's looking to smash into them. He is down to a finish, but it might not matter, because Jan Dekker takes out the double 16, only a second career victory against the 2-time world champion. Jackpot, one of the biggest names in action on day 1 of the Dutch Darts Masters, has been toppled at the very first stage. Jan Dekker delights the 1,500 strong Dutch crowd, and Mr. Coat, Double Dekker, is through to the next round. And he does have that rematch with the wizard Simon Whitlock. We'll grab a few words with Jan, and then it's our final game of the night. The number 1 from Spain versus the number 1 from Aldershot. James Wade versus Cristo Reyes.
Jan, gefeliciteerd. Een moeilijk begin, maar een fantastisch einde.
Nou, Jacques, zoals je weet, zo gaat het heel vaak bij mij. Je begint vaak slecht en dan moet ik mezelf echt invechten. En dat is vandaag ook weer gebeurd. Ik zag aan Adrian dat hij echt niet lekker in zijn spel zat. Dus ik zag hem met ingooien al. Maar dan is het zo moeilijk om dan even dat tandje erbij te zetten hier. En als ik een beetje agressief word, dan begint het wel te lukken.
Ik moet zeggen, het publiek heeft zich wel fantastisch gedragen deze wedstrijd. Heeft je echt gesteund.
Ja, hallo, ik speel thuis, jongens. Hallo!
We're going to do one question in English for our English viewers, obviously. Jan, great performance and a great win over Adrian Lewis, isn't it?
Yes, it is. In the beginning, I was not playing well, but at the end of the day, I played okay. And to be honest, I'm so proud here to play here against for the Dutch crowd, and yeah, I'm over the moon at the moment.
Tomorrow you're playing Simon Whitlock. Any thoughts on that one?
Last week I lost to him 6-0, so I have to take it back now.
Alright, you've got this crowd behind you tomorrow. Morgen zien we hem terug in de tweede ronde. Jan Dekker!